What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Solomon's Crown. So today, guys, we have a very special guest with us today, Gio, aka Black Phoenix. Welcome to Solomon's Crown.
Thank you.
So let's get straight into it. So basically, we've seen education in the West, Gio being from Canada, and me and Will, being American citizens. However, there's a special case where me and Gio actually went to the same high school in Jamaica. That's where our roots are from. And we have seen a stark difference in the education in the Caribbean or in the Commonwealth compared to Western education, especially more so in America. We've seen the advent of Common Core. That seems pretty backward to me, to be honest. And just like the whole mechanism of just testing these kids to death, and then they end up going to college or they pay an arm and a leg for, and they end up not really learning anything, and they're just stuck with the degree that doesn't really do anything for them. So with that being said, just introduce yourself a little quick, Black Phoenix, and introduce your thoughts on the Caribbean system of education versus the Western, and more specifically the Canadian part of education.
All right. If I may, thank you for that introduction. Yes, my name is Gio, aka Black Phoenix. I do hail from Jamaica originally, as Pop says. We went to Wilmer's High School, and it's one of the oldest schools in the Caribbean, the entire Caribbean. It has roots in pre-slavery days, or like pre-independence days, I should say. It's almost 300 years old.
Yeah.
And I myself, my family, we moved to the States in the late 90s for a little bit. And what's going on, Will? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just trying to refocus I'm sorry
All right,
about the distraction.
It's all right.
Always out of focus.
But yeah, we moved to the States for a little bit. Then we moved back home. I finished high school back home, and then I moved to Canada. In Canada, I actually went into the high school system here in grade 11, so the second to last year, because here they do grades 9, 10, 11, and 12 as high school. And some people do a victory lap, they used to call it, grade 13. So that alone was already like an indicator, be like, oh, something's different here. Then from there, I went into Ryerson University, which is now going by University X, because of some very interesting. There's some tea on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one later. Yeah, there's a reason for that. They're changing the name of the university because of some Native American travesties that were going on. Yeah, there's a whole situation there.
Like
but I went there for
indigenous people.
Yeah, there was some serious messed up stuff going with the indigenous peoples, man. So I went to Ryerson for a couple of years studying biology, and then I transitioned to Sheridan College for a couple of years doing software development and network eng. And I went to McMaster University, one of the best unis in Canada, for software engineering technology and a diploma in management. So I got a fair bit of schooling under my belt, shall we say. And to be honest with you, when the initial impression I got of the Canadian school system was, this is kind of a cakewalk. Now let me explain. In the Caribbean, we do technically, what does CXC stand for again, Pop?
Caribbean Examination Council.
Yeah, and it's basically it's modeled off the old English way of doing stuff, right? Of doing education. So we're more akin to the.
What's the old English way of doing things? For like
so basically, it's very similar. It seems similar to the Western way, where you do elementary school. In the Caribbean, they call it primary or prep school.
Yeah.
It's like literally the primary start of your education or the prep start, like you're preparing for your next step in education. You do that grade 1 to 6, right? And then grade 6, you write they've actually renamed it now, but they used to call it GSAT,
General Secondary Assessment Test. I don't
That's
know why
the
I
one.
remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good. When we combine, we have all the information. So
Captain Planet.
Yo, straight up,
Yo, chill, bro.
Yo, see, got my whole camera out of focus now, like, bro.
So you do grade 1 to 6 in primary or prep school, and then so after that, basically you're 7 to what would that be? 7 to like 11?
7 to
No, 7 to 12.
12.
12.
Seven,
Technically,
yeah, 7
but
to 12.
we call it
middle
we
school.
call it forms.
No, we call it
We don't have a
forms.
middle school.
Yeah, so middle school.
we call it
We don't have
like
like 7th and 8th grade, kind of.
Yeah, and then
usually
we don't
at
have
a high
high
school.
schools.
Yeah, but it's usually at a high school. So like you'll
Yeah.
be separated from the high school schedule and things like that. But you can go to a school that's like 9th to 12th grade, and then you can do like AP classes and do college courses into your senior year. Because like I was technically supposed to graduate early, but I was just like, what am I going to do in January when everybody else is still in school? So
chill. Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
So that right there, we don't have middle school at all.
Yeah.
That is a strictly North
So you just
American
go from
phenomenon.
6th grade to 9th grade, like
Yeah,
high
man.
school.
Yeah, straight
high
up.
school, yeah.
Like full cut.
But that's the thing too, is like by the time you guys are in 6th grade, you guys are already at the level of 9th graders in most.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you already start seeing the disparity right there.
Yeah. There's a big difference, like huge.
So
2 years worth, like.
Yeah, because like our high school is 5 years minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Our high,
That's
yeah.
minimum,
So
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you guys have
overarches
like
into the
minimums.
middle
Like, I mean, truthfully, you could finish high school in what 3 years if you really wanted to, because your senior
if you
year
pushed,
is
you could do that.
Yeah, your senior year is like electives and like college prep and just. I mean, my whole second semester, from like after December winter break, was all electives. They were like, "Yo, you can graduate early," and I was like, "No, I'm gonna take 4 electives like for the rest of the year." Like, so like half the time I wasn't even at class, bro. Like I'd be like, if I fail these classes, it doesn't matter, but you can also use your senior year to catch up on classes that you failed. Like, because I think I failed English, or no, I failed math in 9th grade.
Bro,
And-
are you feeling math, bro?
Oh, chill. I was going through a lot. I mean, but truthfully, the reason why is because my grandfather died when I was in 9th grade. So like,
Okay, all right.
So yeah, you did tip of
yeah.
it.
So my headspace wasn't right, and then like I was just like going through it. But then when I got to senior year, somehow I was already ahead of this curve, because like math wasn't hard for me, bro. Like it was probably like my strongest suit when I was.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was so surprised, bro.
Nah, it was.
Homie told me he failed math. Like, what happened?
I was just. I mean, I'm in.
There were
programming
circumstances.
now, so yeah. So, but I mean, senior year, like I said, like my whole second semester was electives, and truthfully, I should have been doing AP classes and taking like classes at community college, because we had our college. We had a community college that was like literally down the street, and they had a program where you could go over there and take classes for like 4 or 5 hours out of the day and kind of like get your college credits started. So by the time you jumped into your actual college years, you'd be like 4 classes into your associates at that point. So I mean, you live and you learn. Yeah. Like, I mean, the thing is like, so with my school, just to segue a little bit, we had a contract with SDSU, and if you graduated from our college and applied to the college, you automatically got accepted into the college. And they only told the smart kids that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they told me at some point, but like I was not trying to do it. But the thing is, it's like, so like out of like what my school probably had like 130 people, because we were like a small technical school. We were Construction Tech Academy, and then you had like business school, and then you had a computer science school, and then there was another school nobody cared about. But either way, each school had its own contract with these colleges in the surrounding area, and mine was construction. So I could have gone into an engineering degree, and senior year I did CAD drafting, architectural classes and things like that. But I mean, like it was just a lot of math and everything like that. I think only 10 people applied for my senior class. And out of those 10 people, I think only 4 or 5 of them, probably 5 of them, half of them graduated from SDSU. and got their degrees. Yeah, so I missed a huge free scholarship. It was a full ride scholarship, like for 4 years to SCSU. But I mean, senior year, you're not thinking about all that stuff. Like, and my senior year was a little wild. So
see, and right there, that's another difference.
That's a big key difference. Yeah.
Because in the Caribbean, your senior year, there is significant pressure from all fronts. Your parents are front and center, your teachers who basically become secondary parents.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I was on a first name basis with both of my vice principals.
Oh, yeah.
So they knew who the hell
Miss
I
Rob.
was. Miss Rob and Miss Leo, man. They knew who the heck I was, and they would pick me out of a crowd and talk to me just randomly, be like, "Hey, how you doing? Did you put this in place? Did you
Mr.
shout out to those parents?"
I remember him. I mean, that's the thing too, is Mr. Riego, like all these teachers that like literally were just like, "Yo, what are you doing with your life?"
It's like they care, bro.
Yeah,
they cared.
Just out here.
They cared back then,
yeah, they really did.
So,
they showed it. Even if you were failing or something, they give you a chance to catch up on classes. They would have like long discussions with you, like, "Yo, what are you trying to do with your life?" Like, you can't.
They put on, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, even now the teachers are kind of just like not getting paid enough and things like that. My mom's been a teacher for my entire life almost, so like she's been in teaching for like 25 years or so now, and she's gone from special education to special needs to like I mean, she could have been a principal, she could have worked at the school district, but she's just like, I'm not trying to deal with all that stress. She's getting to the end of her road and she's like, nah, like I was
trying to retire.
Yeah, exactly. Retire and just be done, bro. Like,
listen, my aunt was a teacher and she went that route. She was like, yo, she was a teacher for like 20 odd years, bro. And then she became the vice principal and everybody looked up to her. And then when the principal dipped out, I think she became the principal for a little bit and then she retired right after that. Yeah. Like she was like, yeah, nah, I'm done.
Man, she was not having it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that she wasn't having it, but like it's stressful, but like she's been in the cut for like 30 years. Like
and the thing is, the kids are getting worse and worse, like especially in America. It's like, bro, like I mean, kids are looking at YouTubers, they're looking at content creators and being like, why am I in school when this dude made $1 billion? Kids in school now starting clothing brands. Like if you look at a lot of these younger these clothing brands that are starting up, because like streetwear is becoming big, and we'll talk about that later when we talk about Virgil. But like, bro, like even me and Papa talked about it. Like it's not that much to start a clothing brand. And a lot of these kids have the clout from high school, so they're selling it to their homeboys, and then they're going into college and they're slinging it out the back of their trucks. Like these kids are hustlers now, and it's really dope because they don't have to focus on school anymore. Like they can just kind of be like, yo, I can go my own route. And I feel like with our generation, like we were always told like, yo, you got to go to school, you got to go to college. Yeah. You gotta have a technical career field and things like that.
Yeah, you gotta establish yourself academically first.
Exactly. And now, truthfully, if you can sell some t-shirts out of a trunk and some hats, bro, you're winning. Like, because people are buying it. Like, bro, $30-$40 for a hat, $30-$40 for a t-shirt. Like, these kids are making more money than working a minimum wage job at McDonald's, at the, like all the jobs we worked. I mean, I worked JCPenney's, I worked at the stadium, and I worked at a apartment complex by my house, bro. And I was making like decent money, but I was working 3 jobs, so I had no free time. These dudes are literally going to parties and selling $500 worth of merchandise. Yep. And driving BMWs at 18, 19 years old because they can afford it.
Yeah, facts.
So, I mean, that leads into like the education system in America is just like, yo, is it even worth it when it's like it's
not up to scratch, bro?
Yo, you're already behind most countries. And, like, go ahead, Pop.
But just to kind of like touch on the several points on this whole situation, in my opinion. So just the fact that, Will was talking about you had this school connected to this school, connected to this school, all underneath this college. Like, we didn't have any of that. Everyone had like a same system where you pretty much did your 5 years, grade 7 to grade 12, right? Then, and we were talking about this, and then after that, you had this other 2 grades that you could go into, which was pretty much like your AP / your community college that was attached to the school. And then once you pass that, you get your, and I think you do your, what you call it again, Gio? CX, not CX.
No, you do your O levels.
CSEC, your O levels, right? Once you pass those, you pretty much get 2 years off of going to UE, University of the West Indies. You pretty much get 2 years shaved off of your college degree doing that. And it's like even before that, once you get to your equivalent of 7, 8, 9, your ninth grade, at that point you're pretty much majored off. So you can have a choice at ninth grade to choose like, I'm gonna be an architect, or I'm gonna be
a chemical engineer.
Scientist.
I'm gonna be a scientist in general.
I'm gonna be a business. I'm gonna go into accounting.
Yep.
And you could even mix and match, because I was like a business major and a science major. And then all the teachers that we had, granted our school was like prestigious and long-standing.
Yeah.
All of our teachers were like top of the level. Like I'm talking about like professor level, like teachers who have like years of experience. Like I know I had problems with math, and my teachers would sit down with me and be like, yo, what's a problem? And like help me out. And all the teachers were professional, like top of the level.
Top of the line, man.
Top of the line. Like I'm talking about top of the line. Like everyone loved our teachers, right? And personally, when I went to college, I was like, I didn't study. I was like playing games all the time. Me and you were playing Battlefield all the time. And it's like, I was getting A's, bro. Like it was so easy. Like from my sophomore year and junior year, or I can't even remember what you call it, but my first 2 years was like easy. And it just goes
your freshman and sophomore.
Yeah.
Freshman, sophomore. Thank you.
Junior, senior.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was just a cakewalk, man. It was like, and I'm talking about kids are struggling and like I'm not studying, and it's like it was just so easy. And it goes to say this, where it's like in the Caribbean system, it's so structured, and and even though it was harder, there was such an emphasis on being someone, like getting your school together, learning this material to get a degree, right? As opposed to in America, where it seems like they don't care about the kids, and it's just like, oh, test. And me and Will talked about this earlier, where when it came to our exams in the Caribbean, there was barely any multiple choice. Like you had a question, you had to solve it and prove it.
You gotta show you're working. You gotta show your steps, bro.
Like when you did chemistry, bro, like you had to
calculate actual labs
and everything. Do actual lab. Like we had labs, bro.
Bro, I found stick a pin. Yeah. I think last year I was cleaning up my house, and I found my CXC lab books, bro.
Yeah.
And I look back at it and I'm just like, yo, this is a time capsule right here. Because I'm looking at it and I was telling my girlfriend, who's an actual chemical engineer, chemical engineer. I was telling her some of the stories. I was like, yo, babe. Yeah, chill.
Chemical engineer, like it's casual. Like, that's just normal.
Yeah, man, it's just a normal everyday thing, you know what I'm saying? So I was talking to her and I was telling her some of the stories about like, when we were doing titrations with Miss Burrell and Mr. Wilson, I think his name was. Tall, fair skin man. I was telling her how I messed up the titration, and I was like, yo, I got it though. And like I rejigged it and did it without any kind of color indicator, and she's like, nah, you didn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And like like I whipped out my book and I'm like, here's the notes, like this is from literally the year 2005. Here you go.
Right.
Yo, it's a wild time, bro. It's wild.
I mean, but that was the thing too. So like in America, like, so I can talk from the American standpoint, is like, to me, school was just too easy, bro. Like it was boring. So it's like,
really?
Yeah. So like in fourth grade, I was doing like 3-digit multiplication and stuff like that. Like I was pretty much like, so I would say that I was a little bit more advanced ahead of everybody else. Like I said before, my mom sent me to so truthfully, my mom kind of sent me to a AP school because I learned French when I was in first grade. So from first grade to fourth grade, I learned French. But I think the school mimicked your guys' school plans, where they were teaching us a lot of stuff that like other kids in the area just did not know. Like by fourth grade, like I could do multiplication, I could just almost do algebra at that point. Maybe like fourth, fifth grade, because then I went back to a regular school and I was just like, what are y'all
Cakewalk.
doing? Like, yeah, I was like, y'all
Cakewalk.
don't know how to do multiplication. Like, and kids were like, yo, what do you mean multiplication with 3 digits? It's like, bro, I could do this in my sleep. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so mine's was so the reason why I was behind in regular school is because of the language barrier. So I had to transition from I mean, essentially French was my first language, like my first language that I understood. I had a French tutor and everything. So yeah, so like then I got transitioned back to a regular school for some
English
reason.
school.
Yeah, so I had to essentially learn English as like a first, second grader. Like I had to learn like the basics of everything. Like I knew the alphabets and everything like that, but like all the different pronouns, adjectives, verbs, all that stuff, like it's way different because the American language, like American English, is like not traditional English, bro. It's slang. So it's just like they try to teach you like, oh, these are the things that you need to know, and then you go into class and everybody's like, yo, what up, partner? Like, and you just like, yo, what? Like they ain't teaching this, bro.
Okay, so hold on. Stick a pin real quick. You see this? So that notion right there, that's actually one thing I wish the Caribbean did better. In Canada, they do the same thing, or it's not as widespread, but there are schools, proper established schools. It's called French Immersion. So basically, because Canada has French as their second language, and in Quebec it's their first language. So basically, they set up these schools where when you go there, French is the dominant language. If the teachers are talking to you, it's in French. If you're on the playground and stuff, it's expected that you're talking French. Like when you hand in assignments,
exactly how it was, and it was French and Spanish. It was like they would not talk to you in English. Period.
No,
like,
period. So I mean, and that helps with the natural language development. Right. And that's kind of, and I don't know if that existed in the Caribbean when we were going through high school. But I think that would have been dope. Like if we had like a Spanish immersion thing, because technically Spanish is Jamaica's second language.
And probably just learn that used because it's like a Latin dialect, so you can use it in Europe, you can use it in South America, and I mean, there's jobs down there. There's jobs in Europe that in these Latin countries where
their jobs,
like where there's a certain level of Spanish that will translate into. I mean, of course, they have different.
They got different
dialects.
If you have a base level, if you've got a base level understanding of Spanish, you'll work in both.
And that's what they teach you in college anyway. They teach you Latin Spanish. They don't teach you like slang. It's just like any other language that's taught. They teach the basics.
They teach you like the España.
Exactly.
So that's actually one aspect of I wish it would go the other way, because most times when people talk about the Caribbean way versus the North American way, the Caribbean way wins out because it's superior. Its results show that it's superior. Like the Caribbean has a stupid amount of doctors and engineers and aeros. Like it's just an insane amount. And what happens?
Tarek, man.
Yeah, I still follow those guys on like Twitter and stuff, man. Like those men are smart.
Yeah, so like stick a pin. So we had this dude called Tarek Parker. He was literally the smartest person I've ever met in real life. Like this dude would get A's in everything. I'd never seen this guy get a B. But even then, we were still studying. Like when it came time to do like our O levels and our CSECs, we were still in group studying and everything. So I get where you're coming from, where you're saying that like, oh, this was easy, and I think that's the issue with American schooling, because all you guys do is just do like multiple choice. Yes, where we had to like how do we come up with this answer? Like actually know the knowledge inside out, and even
you gotta formulate.
And even dudes like Tarek had to like study. But this Tarek dude, like I think he went to UE. Then this dude got like a Rhodes Scholarship, which is like one of the most insane, hardest like scholarships to like prestigious scholarships ever when it comes on to the Commonwealth of England. And this guy got into Oxford University, bro. Oxford University. And he's a neurosurgeon, man.
Yeah, he's a whole doctor, my guy.
Yeah, like, I don't know any neurosurgeons. Like I know computer engineers. I know. Like
this guy is like. And I believe he published like papers already. And I'm talking
he's
about
published papers, my guy.
I believe so. And that's not the only dude. Like we've rubbed shoulders with a bunch of doctors. Like Adrian Core is a doctor. Jason Knight is a doctor. Like
Knight and Core are doctors, bro?
Yeah, they're doctors, bro. Like all these like straight up doctors, engineers. Like I think Merrick Marshall was like accountant. Like all these
Yeah,
dudes
he's
are
a top
like,
tier accountant. Merrick's my dude. Fun fact, I actually lived across the street from Merrick for years and didn't know.
oh really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But like
It's crazy,
all these dudes were naming off. Like we still hung out. They still had fun. They still went to parties, had like a bunch of girls and everything.
100%.
But like these dudes were like smart, like, and these are the type of dudes from Caribbean education, man.
And that's
Facts,
the thing
like,
too, is like even the dudes who graduated that I knew from high school, like I don't necessarily see them doing all these amazing things because truthfully, I mean, they're in student loans and all that other stuff. So like they got to find regular jobs. Like they graduated from an engineering program and maybe they do engineering work, but like truthfully, if they left the country, they get a lot more money and they get paid a lot better and they could do a lot more. But it's kind of like that American school system when you get to college where it's like you have so much debt that you can't even like try to leave the country because you're like, what, $100,000 in debt and you're trying to move to another country and everything's new to you. They don't necessarily prep us to leave the country. And I feel like a lot of these other countries prep you to go to other countries to succeed.
I feel like, well, okay, so I think it's not necessarily they prep you for another country. They prep you in the sense that they keep as many doors open for you as possible. So again, this is another thing I like about Canada. There's a province in Canada, one of the Midwest provinces. I think it's Saskatchewan. It's called. What they did is to have people actually come into the province because it's prairie land, so it's a lot of plains, a lot of open spaces and stuff. So it's not population dense as such. But what they've done, or what they used to do for med school, for medical school, is they would say, okay, come into our province, you know, do your bachelor's in biology or health science or whatever, get into med school, come study medicine in Saskatchewan. The province, the government of Saskatchewan will pay for your medical schooling. And all we ask in return is that you, when you graduate, you work here first for like 2-3 years. So like you give back to that province, right? And then after that, you can go wherever the hell you want to go. Don't matter.
That's too easy. Good. That's too easy.
Like
for med school?
And it's OJT. Bro, it's on the job training. Like, so when you leave there, you've seen so much stuff already that it's like, oh, I can do this wherever I want.
Like, I'm ready.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing is like, bro, like American college is just like, I mean, granted, like the prestigious ones, like the high class ones, like it's all about
your Harvards and your Browns and stuff.
But that's the thing is like everybody is already looking to pick you up as soon as you graduate, and you're probably going to go into a program, or like if you're a scientist, they're going to pick you up for whatever.
Some kind of research grant, whatever, entry-level grant, go for it. Yeah.
And it's going to be like, yo, here's your grant, like make this work, because we essentially catered to you all these years and you have to get back. And normally your kids are going to go back to that school. You're going to
want to put your kids in that school.
And it's a big thing, but that's only at high level schools. Like if I graduate from UCLA and just get my computer engineer degree, it's just like, yo, another computer engineer, like
the regular mans, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not even guaranteed to get a job because truthfully, a lot of it's a lot of networking, bro. Like when you're in your senior year, like you already need to be planning for where am I going to go work, reaching out to companies, getting things set up.
It's not even senior year. You should have been doing that from sophomore. No cap.
The sophomore year, honestly, yeah.
Somebody's already said that college is a social experiment to kind of like network, like especially once you get to like, your junior year, your sophomore year, like you need to have these connections already. And
yeah, man.
That's a big thing that people don't realize is like, and it's maybe so the lack of education in general, because like they teach you stuff from the books. They teach you like, yo, if you go to college, you're going to graduate, everything's going to line up for you. And that's not the case, because everything past college is all connections, like literally network.
So like 95% connections, 95%.
I just kind of see like an observation, and I think maybe it's just a different in culture and different in like the way how people do things. So I'm gonna make this quick. So I think when it comes onto the Caribbean, when it comes onto like other countries, like especially in the East Asian region, we are so structured, super structured, and like almost funneled into a competition-based type deal, where when we come out, more or less, if we can afford it, we can go into a university and get a job, especially in East Asia. In Korea, like it's super competitive. Like you have to get this amount of grades to get into this university, because if you get into this university, you're automatically funneled into this
career path,
this company, right?
Yeah.
However, in America, I think school has become, or college rather, has become more of almost like a varsity team, like a sports team. Like, oh, I need to go to this school because you can, because a business degree from Harvard has totally different weight from a business degree, say from like, I don't know, Arizona State or whatever,
Yeah, but
right?
the curriculum is probably different. Like,
and the curriculum is
okay.
probably different.
Yep.
But it's kind of like, I think that's where the disconnect is, because a lot of people who come in from other countries to the States, they know that if they go to a particular school, the curriculum is going to be different and the school name is going to hold more weight so they can get better jobs. But I just think it's the lack of opportunity on some other countries' side, as opposed to the lack of, I guess, quality education or access to it.
Yeah. I can second that to a degree, because in Canada we're very much the same. And even when I was doing my intro, I said I went to McMaster. McMaster has clout. McMaster is like one of the top 5 universities in terms of research, in terms of they have like a lot of the universities in Canada, they're subject based. So like if you want to go to med school, like when I was looking at med school, Guelph, University of Guelph has a prestigious, like proper, phenomenal medical faculty. You want med school or veterinary school, that's probably where you're going to go. If you want to go engineering and you're French, you can go to McGill. McGill is literally #1 university in Canada, right? For research, for engineering, for all of that stuff. Like it's all sectioned off. And for me, part of why I just decided to go to McMaster was because of that cloud. It's basically university cloud. It's basically what it is. Having an engineering degree from Mac is different from having an engineering degree at Ryerson, different from having an engineering degree at University of Toronto, for example. It's just layered. It's just what it is. If 3 people apply for a job, an engineering position, all 3 of them have similar curriculums, because it's fairly standardized. Because that's another thing I wanted to say, comment on for Pop. The curriculum's fairly standardized. And the only difference is where the candidate went to school. Straight up, McMaster will get hired, or McGill will get him hired, McMaster will get hired after that, then Ryerson after that, and then so on and so on and so on. Like, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And if you think about the way the Caribbean is set up, it's very, very, very standardized, right? So the University of the West Indies is like, it's one big school, but it has different campuses all over the Caribbean. Each Caribbean island, like the big ones, will have a University of the West Indies, right? So there's a University of West Indies in Trinidad, there's one in Jamaica. Where's the other? There's like 2 more, right?
I don't remember the other ones, to be honest. Like,
but
I know for a fact the biggest ones was in Trinidad and Jamaica. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you go to UWI Med School in Trinidad, if you go to UWI Med School in maybe like Grenada or something like that, I think it's Grenada.
Yeah.
One of my ex-girlfriends went there with her best friend, and they're both doctors now. Jokes. I know a lot of smart people too. If you go to a med school in the same, like, you're going to learn more or less the same stuff. And actually shout out to the med school in Cuba. One of my church boys from way back in the day, he learned Spanish so that he could go live in Cuba, get free education, and now he's a free doctor. Like, and he's bilingual. Like, that's such a flex.
Oh, I mean,
I know I see you learn Spanish too, but we're not going to talk about that.
We got ulterior motives for learning Spanish. So allow me on my Duolingo fund.
Yo, let this man live. Like, bro, it be like that sometimes. Like,
I'm
I'm not gonna say he's wrong or right. I'm gonna say I understand, as I always say.
But yeah, it's the standardization of it. And you were talking about the Korea situation, Pop, and honestly, I call it a hyper meritocracy, where you go in and there's so much. It's like a ridiculous amount of competition. Like, if you're getting 85s, 90s, like, you're a good student. You know, you clearly put some time and effort into your
85, 90s over there are like 125s in like America. Like, bro, you're like, it's like
you're not different, bro.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, like it's like
just
85 is just like, bro, like you got an 85 in AP calculus, like calculus 3, and like Americans like, yo, calculus 3, like
No,
why?
like no, bro. Like unless you're spitting out 95s, like 95 plus.
I mean, but that's
like
just,
you're not in the running.
Yeah, I mean, just being in Japan in general, like it's a different world out there, bro. Like the level of like perfection is like almost disgusting.
Hands are just built different.
Yo, but they real life
man.
are
It's
like,
culture.
yeah. Because I mean, they're proficient. That's the thing, is like no, they don't have time to waste opportunities out there, and it's like everybody has to contribute to the society to a certain extent, and it goes back into like you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if everybody's a strong link, then you have no weak links. Like, so, and even your weakest links need to be strong enough to support the bare minimum.
The bare minimum, exactly. And if you look at, I guess it's a thing with countries that are population dense and not necessarily geographically wide, which is especially why like the Caribbean exports so much of its brain. Like back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they called it the brain drain, where all of the Jamaicans specifically were just like, yo, we're going to America straight up.
Yeah,
we're just like, why are you going to America for?
Other day.
Yeah, like all of them went there. Like everybody was looking to America for a better life. They're like, yo, we got our schooling and we're gonna peace out straight up.
That's not even that. Like I think recently I looked at some stats, and I think between 2002, I want to say 2002 or either 2012 to 19, like I think 250 something Jamaicans immigrated to other countries. And we have and Jamaica has like a negative immigration rate from people going into Jamaica. So it's crazy.
More people are peacing out.
I mean, there's better opportunities in a lot of these other countries. I mean, even America at this point, like, bro, like I wouldn't mind moving to Europe or moving to Japan. I mean, of course I need to learn different languages, but like, if that's the only thing stopping me from being successful in another country, then I'll do it. Like it's about
Duolingo up, Babble up, like let's go.
And even South America is looking pretty nice, because like there's a lot of things that could be done down there. I mean, of course you got to deal with different rules and regulations in other countries and things like that. You don't just live like you're in America, like Wile E. Coyote and stuff. But it's different. But we're gonna wrap up because we only have a minute on our Zoom call, but I feel like we've touched on a lot of good bases. There's a lot of good information. If anybody has any input or any positive feedback, negative feedback, what you experience, then let us know. We can always reattack the situation and like really get into depth in different topics. But you guys got your closing remarks? Anything?
I'm good. What about you, Gio?
Yeah, I'm good. Honestly, learn what you can, where you can. Don't let opportunity pass you by. Go find it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is like,
real quick, guys.
No, go ahead.
Real quick, guys. If you've gotten this far in the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because it goes a long way in making this channel grow.
And with that being said, we'll just get out of here because we got a lot more work to do. So
a lot more work to do.
All right.
Peace out, everyone.